It all happened so fast. I barely had time to think. That's how people describe dealing with real-life emergency situations. Whether you're at work, at home, or on the road, an emergency situation can happen in a heartbeat, and that's when knowing first aid makes all the difference.
Hey Charlie, how's it going?
Allison, hi. I'd like to get my hands on the guy who taped up this box.
A good day then, huh?
Welcome to my world. Could you hand me that box cutter?
Oh, sure. Here you go.
Every day we come across situations that are just accidents waiting to happen. First aid training gives you the know-how to act quickly and effectively. The overall goals of first aid are simple. Keep the person alive, prevent their condition from worsening, give first aid until help arrives, and ensure that the person receives any needed medical care. There are 6 basic steps to follow in any emergency. Let's see how this plays out.
Well, that's it for me. Have fun.
Ugh.
The first step is to recognize the emergency.
Are you okay? Hey, what happened?
Just nicked myself, no biggie.
Ooh, let me see that.
Next, check the scene for safety. Make sure there is no danger to you or anyone else, and never enter an unsafe scene.
Oh, wow.
It's not that bad. There's just a lot of blood.
Check the person. Always look for life-threatening conditions before starting to give care.
So are you okay? I mean, other than the cut.
It really hurts.
Oh, Kathy, we need some help in here. Could you please go get the first aid kit? Thanks. All right, Charlie, you're doing fine.
No, I'm not.
Just push your hand against the wound to help it stop bleeding. Oh, thanks. And could you also go get the building engineer? We need him to clean up this blood and get rid of this box cutter.
How about an ambulance?
No, I don't think we need to call 911, but I will take you to the clinic. We need to get that bleeding under control. Charlie, I'm trained in first aid. Is it okay if I help you get that bleeding under control?
Yeah, sure, whatever. I hate blood, man.
Yeah, me too.
The next step is to provide care. Obtain consent to provide first aid. If the person is unresponsive and cannot give consent, it's okay to provide care. Provide only the type of aid you have been trained in and don't move the person unnecessarily.
It's still bleeding a little. I'm going to bandage it.
Continue to give care. And finally, have the person seek medical attention when needed.
All right, that looks pretty good. Let me just get my coat and purse and I'll drive you to the clinic.
Allison, maybe I don't need to go, yeah?
No, let's just play it safe and let a medical professional take a look at it, huh?
When you're providing first aid, you're thinking of others. But at the same time, it's essential to protect yourself from disease transmission because contact with blood and bloody saliva or vomit may expose you to viruses such as HIV and diseases such as hepatitis. Due to the possible risk of disease transmission, it's always safest to avoid contact with all body fluids in a first aid situation. Here are the key precautions to take in order to prevent exposure to body fluids. Use medical exam gloves or cover your hands with plastic bags or plastic wrap to make a barrier if you don't have gloves available. When possible, always wash your hands with soap and water before and after giving first aid. Do not touch your mouth, nose, or eyes when giving first aid, and do not eat, drink, or smoke. If you may have been exposed to any body fluid, wash immediately with soap and water, and if you are at work, call your healthcare provider or report the situation to your supervisor. When giving first aid, the gloves that you are using can become contaminated with blood or other bodily fluids. Here's the safest way to remove contaminated gloves. Hold your hands away from your body with fingers pointing downward. Grasp one glove at the wrist and remove. Now, keep the first glove in your hand while you insert 2 fingers under the cuff of the second glove. Turn the glove inside out as you pull it off. Then, dispose of the glove safely and be sure to wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water when you're all done. This is another technique that sounds complicated but is really easy to do with practice. Ready? Checking the person's condition is an essential in emergency situations. There are 3 key steps. First, check for responsiveness and normal breathing. Tap the person's shoulder and shout, "Are you okay?"
Are you okay? Are you okay?
An unresponsive person is always considered a 911 emergency. At the same time, check whether the person is breathing normally. Occasional gasps are not normal breathing. Step 2. If the person is not breathing or not breathing normally, call or send someone to call 911 and get an automated external defibrillator if there's one nearby. Return to the person, turn on the AED, and follow the prompts. Step 3. With a breathing person, check for severe bleeding that might be life-threatening if not taken care of right away. Ignore minor bleeding until you're sure there are no immediate threats to life. Now it's your turn to practice.